Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/culturalstew. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Please listen carefully.
Welcome to the Cultural Stew Podcast, coming to you from the Goat Factory Media Entertainment Studios. We are your cultural media recommendation podcast, giving you our take on what we think is worth carving your time out for, and also what we think you can pass on and maybe go cut that lawn instead. Warning, we use adult language, and there may be spoilers ahead. Hello and welcome to Cultural Stew, episode 16 for the week of July 15th, 2018. My name is Ron Harkins Jr., and I am here with my co-hosts,
Tony Carter.
And Valerie Vidmar.
Hello.
It's our Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Yay.
It's getting old. How is everybody?
All right.
Good. Good. I mean, that sounds really vague.
Yeah.
Let's see, it's been 3 weeks?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we skipped last week to take care of some personal stuff, and we are back, and so 3 weeks since our last episode.
So we should be well rested, but I don't feel well rested.
It's summer.
And Tony, are you well rested?
I'm always well rested.
You've had the kids home for...
Your wife probably is not well rested.
Well, I mean, Sebastian came. So last episode, I had to skirt out a little early because Sebastian was on his way. So the water had not broken officially, but he was making headway.
Nice one.
Yeah. He's a good boy. He's a little fussy. I don't think he likes the heat all that much. But Sebastian Ose is here. So
Yay.
Well,
yeah.
what'll probably end up happening is you'll end up with a kid that loves summer heat because he was born in the middle of summer.
can only hope.
And he'll love summer sports.
See, I was born August 23rd. I don't like summer. I like winter and fall. I like that.
You're just an abomination and weird.
My hockey and soccer.
My birthday was in the dead of winter. I'm a groundhog, February 2nd. So my birthday parties were always like, okay, what are we going to do? It's the dead of winter.
Now we have to worry about Marnie. Marnie's born February 22nd, so we can probably share ideas about what to do in the wintertime for 3-year-olds next year. So.
Well, yeah, we did. We've done, I mean, Zoe's in December. So Zoe is in December, and there we go. Hello. Sorry. I was in a tunnel earlier. And then Harper's in October. But she's near Halloween, so that's kind of cool.
So you had a new baby in town?
I do have a new baby. I did some writing. Actually, I seem to write, like I said before, I write well under pressure. So I finished the first act of my screenplay, about 26 pages. Now I have to go through and fix it, and then I can move on to Act 2. That's always exciting. And I did some kite flying. The weather's been kind of nice where it's breezy, and I've been with my daughter showing her how kites fly, and we've been using gloves because the string gets kind of zippy.
Did you make it?
I did not. I bought it at Christmas tree shop because I wanted to just have something fast and instant to do with her versus.
Is it a box?
Or it's not. It's a what do you call that? It's a diamond. So
diamond.
So, but it's simple. It's something that she can take out, put together herself with me, and we can just go flying. And when she's older, we'll do DIY kites. And
that's actually a great idea. Where do you go to fly it?
We moved, and there's a park kind of field right behind our apartment. So we just go across the road, and there's the park, and there's no lines, no trees, just open space.
Perfect.
So he had a kid, and notice that little slide underneath. He also moved.
Yeah, I moved to a
you
townhouse. I
didn't figure this out until he had an air conditioner given away the other day, and they said you have to pick it up at our old apartment. I'm like, wait, what?
We do crazy things in the Carter household. We had a baby, and then that same week I was with my friends. We were moving all of our stuff from the old apartment to the new townhouse, and we still have to clean up the old apartment. We're out by the end of this week, but
wow,
we do crazy things. We just use the energy we have, and we're all adjusting quite well. We like the central air.
I was going to say, you couldn't have picked the move at the better time.
It's all my wife, Grace. That was all her idea.
Oh, yeah.
We are now in Rochester. We're on day 19 of plus 80 degrees.
It was hot.
In a row.
So
it's because people in Kansas will laugh at this because Kansas goes, they will say, oh, this is plus, 30 days of over 100 degrees.
I don't like heat. I like cool. I like fall. I like winter. Not because of hockey. I just like cool.
We like fall. We're fall people. But the trees here are gorgeous too, so I can't get over the trees. Every year it's like Jason's like, we've been here. I know, but I have to go take more pictures of trees. That's okay.
Valerie.
Yes.
3 weeks of girls out of school.
Yeah. And then when we put them in camp. So they're in camps now, which has been nice. And then because Zoe particularly doesn't do well unless she has some type of schedule. And so we were only out of camp for like 2 weeks. And then Harper did her first Writers and Books camp. And Zoe's going to she's super excited because she got into 2 Hogwarts camps this year.
Wow.
So that was really cool. One was closed, and then she was on the wait list. So she got a wait list pick. So that was fun. That was exciting. And then I decided to, actually, this is so weird. So I walked into Writers and Books, and then a woman turned around, Sally, who runs the children's writing department, and I said something about how I need to get back into writing. I hadn't written for a long time. And she's like, oh, there's this, new class you might be interested in. All I heard was Hermit. That's kind of all I heard. And I went home and looked it up, and I saw the Hermit, and I didn't really read it. I just saw that it was, I was like, okay, Thursday nights. I can do that. So I signed up for one. I haven't been in a writing class for, I'm going to say close to 2 years. And I haven't written in, I don't even want to say, probably close to a year. And so, really written. So I went in there, and then the same day, my friend contacted me from Lawrence, Rhonda. And she said, oh, there's this great, it's a conference that's in Vermont. And she is going to be part of it. She's going to be a teacher there. So I signed up for that. I woke Jason up and was like, do you mind if I go to Vermont in October? Sure. Do we have to do this now? I'm like, well, yeah, because this is the last day you get the good price or whatever. So I'm doing that Power of Words conference. And so then when I went back to the class, I said Lawrence, Kansas, and one of the women said that the woman who is running the Power of Words conference is from Lawrence, Kansas, which is so random. And then my teacher graduated, actually got her MFA, I believe, from Goddard College, which is where I'm going. Isn't that weird?
Fun.
Just like all these little connections. So obviously the universe is pushing me a bit.
You're lamenting of not writing for a year. I don't think I've written since 2001, 2002.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
I mean, I write journal entries, but nothing
Creatively.
Yeah.
But this hermit crab essay, if anybody's interested in trying to get themselves started, the hermit crab essay, just look it up. It's really, really cool. It's a great way of getting your brain to go into so many different places that it will start churning again.
Fun. As for me, I was up on Whiteface Mountain for a couple days,
Nice.
covering shoot up there.
That's
Then came back down from there and covered the world premiere of Anne of Green Gables, a folk rock musical over at Merry-Go-Round or
How
Finger
was it?
Lakes. It was awesome.
cool.
I really enjoyed it. The photos have been getting a lot of traction everywhere. I mean, getting tagged. And it's pretty cool to be part of something that's like a world premiere.
That is cool.
And because those pictures get seen beyond that. And there's tons of talent in there. I mean, like the choreographer is the choreographer of Hamilton, is resident choreographer of Hamilton.
Seriously?
And like the
Fabulous.
lead
That's good.
Mayo, who plays Gilbert, just came off of Les Mis.
Wow.
And like, so you just go down these credits and you're like, oh, yep, they're just
That's
from Broadway.
cool.
They're just from Broadway. They're just from Broadway. So you just have all this talent merging in Auburn, New York for a world premiere of a show. Well, I don't get congratulated. I just took the photos.
Well, so what? You can get congratulations for that.
And then that, and also had a chorus line the same week. Did a video promo for them.
I went to see that.
Summer intensive with the youth.
I went to see that last night with Kendra, and it's fantastic. I was blown away. It's really great. So,
and that, you know, you got Danny and Lonnie doing the directing and choreography duties there. And then it just kind of shows you like the level of talent we have in the city between the colleges and schools.
It really does. Because they're high school kids. They're high school kids through college.
High school kids mixed with college kids.
And right after college.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Some great stuff.
So it's been a fun week, and just trying to do that and then get some house stuff done. I had a little bit of vacation, so during that vacation of trying to get all the photo stuff done, I actually was trying to get house stuff done. And
house stuff is always getting done. It's just always it's a non.
There becomes a point in time when I stop doing house stuff. But it's just like right now, it's like it was the perfect time to start working on projects and trying to get stuff started. So we did that. So cool. Well, let's move on to the news. What big stuff happened over the last 3 weeks?
Well, I can say something very quickly. The Downton Abbey movie has been confirmed, so I'm excited.
Or as I said to my wife, the Downtown Abbey.
I mean, it's been a long time, but I mean, I'm excited. So
that's exciting.
That's my.
Is it everyone?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Good.
So
Good.
I'm happy.
I'm happy.
I'm sorry.
We're down.
BBC nerd.
I'm not a Downton person. My wife is.
It took me a while to get into it, so but
you can tell because I call it Downtown Abbey.
I thought that's when I first saw the title of it, I was making fun of my sister-in-law about it. I said, "Why is it Downton? Is that the accent? They forgot to put a W." She said, "No," and
that's the name of the town, right? Or the
Abbey itself is just Downton.
Downton.
Yeah. So
I was like, they can make like a total offshoot parody of it, like Downtown Abbey.
God. Which is basically it's the American version of Upstairs Downstairs, the British version.
Well, also local buzz, Zebulon, I forget his last name, but a local artist is doing costuming stuff. I'm not sure if he's a main costumer, but he's been talking about it on Twitter and things like that. And I met him during a Vivian for Downton, okay. So he'll be using his services to help them. So yeah.
Yay, Rochester.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
My biggest news of the last 3 weeks is there is now only one Blockbuster left.
Yeah.
They've closed down the 2 Blockbusters in Alaska, including the one that John Oliver sent all the Russell Crowe memorabilia to.
Right.
Those are now closed, and the last living, breathing Blockbuster is in Oregon.
We should go.
No.
We should go.
I don't have any desire to go.
I don't want to go to Oregon either, but it's there. We must go.
Is it big? Is it a big one?
Probably average.
I don't know.
I wonder.
It's the only one left, so I mean.
I just want to call them. I want to call them and talk to the guy. And like, are you getting customers? Do you have a lot of customers? Do you think you're going to stay open?
It's really weird. Like a couple years ago, I was saying to something, and I said, you know what? Netflix reminds me of an online Blockbuster. It reminds me of going into a Blockbuster on a Friday night, and all the new releases are checked out. Or all like the top movies are checked out, and now you have to go through everything else to find something. So you've got all these like made for TV movies and like movies from like the 80s and early 90s.
Right.
But that's what Netflix has felt like to me for a long time. And now they're like changing that with their newer content. But that was before all the new content started coming in. Because I was on the verge of like getting rid of Netflix because I'm like, there's nothing on here to watch.
I almost did the same thing. And then all once they started.
But yeah, we've talked. I think we talked about Blockbuster like one of the first episodes.
We did, yeah.
You know,
social.
I had the cards and went in there as many times and got as many DVDs as you could possibly rent out at a time.
That's funny because Netflix now has 112 total nominations for the Emmys, which
the Emmys have been one of those things that I really just don't watch. I don't know why.
I haven't watched them either. I really haven't been
And it
watching
seems like
them because I don't.
everybody gets nominations.
Because I don't watch any other. I don't really watch real. I don't know what do you call that?
Network television.
I don't watch network television, and I just don't watch it. But and I haven't been watching the Emmys for years. I don't think.
I think I maybe have watched them once, but
I mean, I might this year only because of the things that are nominated.
I only watched the daytime Emmys because Michael Park was nominated for his Jack Snyder and As the World Turns. It was his last season, so
Dude,
I had to. What?
you watched As the World Turns?
Michael Park
was
is
in
a
it.
Blackfriars alum.
I didn't know Michael, so I had to watch it. It's a good show. When you get into it, you get into it.
No,
But
seriously, I watched As the World
Also, he's a
Turns
NAS
from the
alum.
time I was 7 years old, and I was taping it.
he's a NAS alum too, so I have to watch it. Support NAS blood. So
Who did he play?
Jack Snyder.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and then he was in House of Cards. You couldn't miss him.
He's
if-
right now on Broadway. He's in Dear Evan Hansen. He's the father.
Finally using his voice.
She's flipping out over here. She's like making connections.
He was at the NAS graduation this past.
Cool.
Do you remember what was a couple years ago was
Oh my gosh!
the Peter Pan that they did live on TV with
Yes.
Christopher Walken? He was one of the pirates on there as well.
And he came to Rochester years ago.
And let's see, he originated the role of
Wow.
on Violet and originated the role on Smokey Joe's. So he's got some really good.
Yeah.
Stopped singing for years to do As the World Turns. Then he went back
That's
to Broadway. So
And he came for our closing night
Jack
or opening night
Snyder.
performance of Violet. I think it was the closing night performance of Violet. We got to spend the evening with him.
good
That's
guy.
cool.
awesome.
Very good guy.
Yeah,
Cool.
down to earth.
Funny too.
He's been around. Yeah. So what else we got here?
Well, I was just gonna
Trailer land here.
before we get into the trailers, I just wanted to round off even though we don't watch it, just because The Crown. The Crown got 12 noms, and Godless, which I haven't seen.
I am shocked that Godless got that. I
haven't
enjoyed
seen
it. I liked it.
I haven't seen it. Stranger Things both got 12. Glow, which no, it's not my thing, got 10, but a lot of people like Glow.
I'm not gonna go into this with you right now.
And then HBO got
We're going to
108
stop right there. Have
nominations.
you watched a single episode of Glow yet?
No, but The Handmaid's Tale did get 20 nominations.
Can you-
20.
Can you please watch one episode of Glow?
Okay, you watch one episode of Handmaid's Tale.
We will.
I just got Hulu so I can start on Handmaid's Tale. That was my plan.
Okay, deal.
Because I was going to make this deal with you.
Fine. One
Yay,
episode of Glow.
Trisha, yay.
But you have to prove that you actually watched it, like I need to know.
My wife's going to be there. I got it because she'll probably be interested in it more than I am.
Oh, she will. It's going to bother you.
But I also got Hulu for other things
So
because that's where Marvel's Runaways is.
Hulu has some good stuff on there right now.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Valerie's gonna watch Glow.
Very, very small amount of stuff. But
Well, enough to get it, right? Handmaid's Tale, I got it for Handmaid's Tale alone. And then found some other things on there. So that makes me happy. But guess what?
so I'm just like looking at these numbers. I'm like,
But look at you.
What do you, 20 nominations?
But I know, but
what are they nominating for?
I just
20.
I know, but I
That's
wanted to say
props.
congratulations because you're marvelous, Mrs. Maisel. Mrs. Maisel, sorry.
Maisel.
14 nominations. No, that's 22. 14, yeah. 14 noms for them. 14 out of Amazon Prime's 22.
Did they get any for Bosch?
I don't know. I just saw they just said.
Trying to think what else would have been on Amazon Prime from this last year that would have gotten anything.
I liked a show that I can't think of the name of. I talked about last week or last time we were here.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
So Zombieland 2, the cast is confirmed it's coming back, and the movie should be out by the 10-year anniversary.
I saw that,
So
but I have not seen the first one.
you haven't seen the first? Mm-mm. It's fun. It's a good zombie flick. It's fun.
Zombieland. That's with
Jesse Eisenberg and Emma Stone and Woody Harrelson. You haven't seen it either?
No, Tallahassee. That's with Bill
Yes.
Murray. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Columbus and Tallahassee. And
Good. That's a
Bill
good film.
Murray's best death scene ever.
Very, very funny, awkward meta film. But yeah.
Yeah, so that it's been talked about it actually coming back for years, and
Twinkies.
they finally just confirmed it. All the cast is on board, and they are hoping to get it out by the 10-year anniversary.
You
And it's
haven't
weird to
seen
say
it?
it's 10 years.
It's like milk gushing out of your nose. Funny, like your nose burns.
Do you like zombie movies at all?
I do.
Okay,
I
then
don't.
You need to watch
I
it.
still like it.
You need to put that on your list. Because
I've
it's funny.
What's the British one? That's funny.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is
it's
funny
very
too.
Shaun of the Dead
Okay.
vibe to it, just a little bit. It's Americanized humor instead of British humor.
And very meta.
So it's still funny though.
Yeah, very quite.
Just joking.
Yes, because
Speaking
every time like the writers got like announced to be like, oh, the writer's going to be taking on this movie, it was like, ooh, what are they taking on?
speaking of funny, there's a movie called The Meg coming out. People just have to watch this trailer.
It looks like the worst
It's
of
a
like
huge Jaws.
B
It's
movie.
75-foot long prehistoric shark. It's coming out August 10th.
I
and
will
it has
pretty much watch anything Jason Statham does, and this just looks
horrible.
stupid.
And Rainn Wilson is in it as well.
It looks like it. I didn't dig through the production company, but it looks like it's a Chinese-made movie.
Did you see the trailer?
Oh yeah, I've seen
Oh my
it. Just
gosh.
like ugh.
The dog. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
And the tongue-in-cheek jokes that are like forced. I'm like, oh, if they sound this forced in the trailer.
But a good trailer I've seen actually a few times because I just saw the movie theater. But the house with the clock in its walls with Cate Blanchett and Jack Black, which looks awesome.
You probably just saw the second one because the first one came back a long time ago, and the second one is a lot more in depth as to like what happens with the movie, and we find out that like Jack's a warlock. And,
yes,
that history, and
that comes out September 21st, so we have a little bit to wait, but we will be there.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that one. When I first saw the first trailer, I thought it was the follow up to Goosebumps because it was just in that same vein.
Yeah, I saw the Goosebumps trailer. Goosebumps 2.
Oh my! But that's what I thought the first one was because
terrifying.
And I was like, what the heck?
And it's for kids? I mean,
I don't even think it looks terrifying. I just think it looks stupid compared to the first one.
I know, but
and the big thing that's missing is, Jack Black's missing. He was R.L. Stein in the first one. So
it's just kind of strange. That's kind of strange. Another horror flick, Mandy, and Mandy, which is how Barry Manilow spelled it. Sorry, my little sister is Mandy, and she gets named after that song.
After the song.
Yeah, by her brother. Anyway, it's directed by Panos Cosmatos. Is that how you say it?
Sounds Greek.
But he did Tombstone. And it's with Academy Award winner Nick Cage.
Well, it's right there.
So
Lost me.
You just don't know. And because we just don't know with him. It's going to be up or down.
When you put qualifiers like that under...
Even a turd can be polished once in a while.
It's going to crack me up. I know. But it's September 14th release. For anybody who wants to be scared. I did see the trailer, or it did look a little terrifying to me. And then Amazon's Beautiful Boy.
I've probably seen Tombstone 20 times.
I like Tombstone a lot, too.
I love Western movies, and I thought that one was just fun. Val Kilmer's probably best role ever.
Yes.
What?
Well,
yeah.
Really?
Yes.
well, okay, I'm sorry. But,
if you look at his career, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did enjoy
What was that?
one of my ears popped, and it's not working now at all. But
You probably hit the plug.
whatever. I always hit something. Okay, there. I was going to say that I enjoyed him in The Doors, but The Doors came out and I just totally dug it.
He's had several good roles.
He was
I just
good
think
in
in terms of like him going completely like non-Val Kilmer.
Okay. There you go. Okay, now I see what you mean.
This was him embodying a role and becoming something completely different. Yeah, I just thought it was fun.
Okay, I'll give you that. So Real Genius and Kiss Kiss were different. Okay, cool. Never mind.
Maybe The Doors wasn't that. I don't know. I'm going to actually do this, and you're going to gag. But speaking of beautiful boys, sorry, Amazon's Beautiful Boy with Steve Carell and Timothy. Is it Timothy Chalamet?
It took me a while to understand what that was about. Like I watched it twice.
It's actually, there's 2 books that were written, father and son. Then they're based on those 2 books about their journey through addiction. And Timothy is from Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird. So he's pretty big right now. And Steve Carell, we of course all know. Don't we?
40-year-old virgin.
I guess some people say The Office, but I
that
would
doesn't count.
say,
Okay.
lots of other things like Anchorman.
Yeah. And we also talked, he's got a new movie coming out, the Marwen.
Yes, which I will see in theaters.
Amazing. We talked about that last show.
He actually has some really great shows. There's
he's one of the actors that I like when he's pulled back and he's brought down to a very raw, because then when his comedy comes out in those raw moments, he's very funny.
he's
Little Miss Sunshine.
yeah, and he's in this really great movie. I can't think of the title. It's with Juliette.
No.
Thank you, Juliette Binoche, and it's a comedian that's not very funny. But they all go to a cabin, and he meets her, and his brother, who's a comedian, ends up bringing Juliet, who he actually met earlier in the day, and they had a lovely time. And
Jane in real life.
Thank you. I love that.
That was his first real, most comedians do well doing serious.
I really love that movie. I've watched it several times.
I'm trying to think who the other comedian in that was. I think I know. I've seen that movie.
It's that.
So.
I can't think of his name. But anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's all with my
He was
news.
in Kodachrome.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else we got? First Images of Glass. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
Follow up.
Be good.
The follow up to Split and Unbreakable.
First images meaning there's a trailer.
Pictures.
Pictures.
Like
pictures
Shazam.
leaking out.
I
So the
realize
first
what
picture,
images are.
The
I
first
was just
picture
wondering.
was of the 3 of them. So Split,
Right.
Mr.
Megaboy.
Glass, and Bruce Willis's character all chained up.
Do we yet know
So.
when this release will be?
I don't know. I didn't look at the date, but the fact that we're getting pictures out now could mean either end of year or beginning of the year. It seems like it'll be a winter movie. Joaquin Phoenix, Joker is...
Do we need an origin film? Do we need that?
know
Do we need
what-
him playing Joker?
I don't know what we need.
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
need that. I'm tired. I'm
Joaquin
tired.
as the Joker
I
is
don't-
going to be... DC's plan of how they're, everything is coming together is really just...
They need to just stop, take a year, and regroup.
You just saw what they did with, I'm going to butcher this name, Damon Hyunsu, the one he played from
Yes.
Gladiator, but he was in the Marvel Universe. So now they just brought him in to play the wizard in Shazam, but he's already playing a character in Aquaman. And the female from Aquaman is also playing a different character in Shazam.
So maybe
you
they'll get it
have
right.
2 people playing 4 different roles
That's
It's
interesting.
like Chris Evans.
in 2 different movies. It's like, what?
I have no feelings about this, but
But they're in the same universe, so it's not like going from 2 different
yeah,
universes.
they're not in my
confusing.
universe. But news update: Glass is coming out January 18th.
Cool beans.
Just want to let you know that. Okay, so now you can
I'm
go
going to
back.
boycott DC for a while. I'm going to give them a break in my
I'm
mind.
just going
Their
to keep
universes.
watching
I
them just to
can't,
see where they go.
They're trying to have a sequel for Superman. Henry Cavill talking about a sequel for Superman that wasn't and that will be. And I'm like, guys, just take a break. Just
The only reason I'm excited for Shazam is because it's Zach Levi, and
He's
I
a good
really
actor.
like Zach Levi.
yes, Chuck.
I don't know where the heck they're going to go with this movie,
It'll probably be better than Man of Steel.
but and then a couple more comic book news. Jeremy Renner signed on for Spawn.
Nice.
And Black Widow got a director, so we will be getting a Black Widow film. That'll be cool. And you, the RoboCop fan.
I don't know. How I
Did
feel
you
about
see
him.
this?
I did. I don't know how I feel about him. I mean, he's a good
Neil
director.
Blomkamp?
He's a good director. I just don't know if we need a new reboot because the last one was kind of like unsettling for me. But I
don't
liked
think
it.
it's not going to be a reboot. It's going to be a continuation.
Will be better than RoboCop 3. But okay. I'll wait and see. I'm curious.
I like Neil's style
Yeah.
of directing, so it might be a little bit more.
What else has he directed?
District 9.
District 9, the one with the robot was...
I know what you're talking about. It'll come to me. Yeah. But he's good. He has good visual style, good voice.
South African director.
He was going to do Halo, and then, they gave it to Peter Jackson, who said no, thank you. So he did.
He's a sci-fi... Future sci-fi.
I was going to say futuristic, dark.
But more on a realistic term, not like sci-fi in space. It's sci-fi future on Earth.
Like Terminator,
stuff.
the original Terminator, kind of.
Right.
Grounded in that reality.
District 9. I mean, that says it all to me.
No, did you see it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Good.
So I must have talked right over that. Sorry.
That's it. No, I didn't say anything about it.
So that's about all the news I got. I'm sure there's tons more, but I think that's enough for us right now.
Right.
Let's move on to the recommendation list. Valerie.
I'm going back in time because I didn't get to the movie theaters. I mean, I did, but I'm going to say that
You
for
just
kids,
wanted to see
kids
somebody
corner.
younger.
Hush it. No, it's because Kendra hasn't seen these movies. So when she comes, then I introduce these movies to her. So it's just kind of funny. Her Jeff Goldblum, and we're going to lead into this. Her Jeff Goldblum in her head is Jurassic Park, right?
Okay.
My Jeff Goldblum is The Big Chill, right? Nerdy, just completely the biggest nerd ever. Now, then you watch The Fly, which is what we watched, 1986. Oh my gosh, Jeffy. He's pretty hot in this movie. Got long hair, he's got a bod. It's weird. It's weird that he's hot.
He's aged well.
Yeah. Anyway, she was like, Jeff Goldblum, really? And then when she's like, Jeff. And then Gina Davis, this is where they met and fell in love and got married. And then they got divorced later. But still, you know what? This is still a great, creepy movie. It's still impressive. It got an Academy Award for makeup by Chris Wales. And I thought this was interesting that the music was by Orator and it was performed by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And it's still, if people don't know, a scientist he's working on teleportation. Teleportation? Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. And he gets, don't do anything when you're drunk is the thing. He got drunk, got all upset, got into the pod, decided he was going to teleport himself. And the little fly got in there and screwed everything up. And so, yeah, he turns into a fly. And it's really gross and fantastic. So I watched that. And then The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Watched that, 2005, with Laura Linney and Tom Wilkinson, which is based on a, I'm putting up in quotes, true story. But you can look all that up if you'd like. But it's pretty, I'd say it's pretty darn scary. When I saw it, it was scary. And Chicago Film Critics is doing their top 100 scariest movies.
Where'd you watch these?
At home.
Did you have them on DVD?
Oh, I'm sorry. Exorcism I have on DVD. And The Fly, I think we rented from Amazon.
I still have my VHS of The Fly.
That's awesome. But she really liked both of them a lot. So, yeah. We watched other ones, but I mean, we also did, and this movie, I don't know why I'm going to say this and it's going to annoy a lot of people. But, Good Will Hunting. We watched Good Will Hunting.
It's a good movie.
I struggle with it.
Why?
Did you ever struggle with the fact when it came out and won all those awards? Those boys around my age, and I just when the screenplay was, I thought Robin Williams' lines, his performance was good. It's just that the way they put the movie together and the lines and I don't know. It just seemed to me.
She's trying to say what now?
I don't know. I was pissed.
There are a lot of people in Hollywood who don't believe that Ben Affleck.
Oh, no, I don't care about that part. That they wrote it?
They wrote it.
I don't know. I mean, no, I was just pissed that they wrote it. And I mean, not that I wanted to. I just felt like, seriously, this one?
Well, one thing I will say is that there's a lot of inside stuff in Hollywood. So it's about who you know. So Ben and Ben and Matt had been acting for a while. So they had some
all these
cred.
other movies.
So they kind of had some pull when it came to writing a film and getting it seen by the right people. And
no kidding.
So
I mean,
it's hard work to get where you are. But I mean, they just had the inside card of working a long time and then pushing through.
I mean, I'd already seen Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing Amy.
I think Ben was mostly Ben. I think Matt had more serious.
Matt did
had more serious work under his belt at that point.
Oh gosh, I can't remember what Matt did before that. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that movie, but Kendra enjoyed it.
Cool.
That's it. So I sat in my living room watching movies this week. So I didn't really get out to the movies at all. I did, but that's later.
I did get out to the movies to see Antman and the Wasp, the latest follow-up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directed by Peyton Reed and starring Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michael Pena, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Just to name a few. And also Walter Goggins in the movie. I love whenever Walter Goggins shows up, but for some reason, TV people know how to use Walter Goggins, movie people don't. It's a really weird thing because anything that Walter Goggins has been on TV, I've loved. Everything he's been in on film, I haven't been impressed with at all. In terms of Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's a very satisfying film. It's if you've seen Ant-Man 1, it's a good follow-up to that because you finally get the Wasp, Evangeline Lilly, and that whole storyline, and lots of just tongue-in-cheek jokes.
Do you have to see the first one first?
Yeah.
To kind of understand what's going on.
I really wanted to go see it.
Is Bobby in
it? We hadn't seen the first one. I was like, I don't really care. I just wanted to go see it, but
I think you need to see the first one just to kind of get the flavor of humor because it's different than the humor that's in the rest of the Marvel universe.
That's okay. I mean, I don't know a whole lot of the Marvel movies.
You should still watch your first one and understand the science.
Yeah, just watch the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just easier.
It explains a lot. I mean, it explains the science behind what they're doing. Not really explains, but
it explains the relationship between Paul Rudd's character and Evangeline Lilly's character, too. Okay. And then you'll kind of piece a little bit of together as to what happened in the Marvel Universe because there's 3 or 4 things that happened. But I thought it was fun in terms. Fun. I thought it was, I've been trying to take the girls to go. Everything hasn't lined up with camp season and everything. And does it play a huge role in the Marvel Universe in total? Not really. It has a small part at the end that plays into role with what happened with Infinity War. It's just more gives us just a fun in Ant-Man and the Wasp fun thing.
Was that point at the end sad, as people said it was? Like knowing?
No, it's just pissed off.
I don't want to know. Don't talk about it.
Really?
That's what I thought.
That's all I was. And then they throw so there's 2 end credit scenes.
Okay.
So the one you're talking about is the first one. Right. And then there's one at the end. And the one at the end, it's like, you've already seen it in the freaking trailer. Okay. Really?
Okay.
Because it's one of those things like your brain remembers things that you see from trailers. And then like as you're watching the movie, you're like, where'd that thing go that I saw from the trailer? And that was one of the things. It's like,
that's lame.
That's where they put it. That's the second time within the past. I know I've discussed it on here before that I've said, they completely have just gave away what it was. Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Like the ending of Tomb Raider was on the freaking trailer. I mean, they showed you exactly what happened because it's in the trailer.
There's some scenes in Infinity War that were in the trailer that are not in the movie, but the Blu-ray coming out will have those scenes as
I don't mind that. It's just more of if you're going to put a little special little, like, here's an extra little thank you for sticking around, make it something special. Don't waste it by, I've already seen it in the trailer.
Should have flopped it, maybe?
So we're going to try to see that this week. That's what I'm trying to say. I know. I know we're spoilers people, but please don't spoil it for me.
See Antman first.
Yeah, we will.
See.
We will.
There's not much I can spoil about the movie itself. I mean, they've already revealed that Michelle Pfeiffer plays the original Wasp, and that she's the one that's stuck. It's Evangeline Lilly's mother. They just never showed her in the first one. They never showed who it was, and they just revealed it was Michelle Pfeiffer, like shortly before the filming or before the film came out. And her role is so small, but important to the film. What I'm hoping out of this, I'm hoping that somehow we get a original Ant-Man and the Wasp film out of it. I would love to see a young Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne.
Be nice.
Because we're looking at Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. At the tail end of their careers, I would love to see them at the beginning of their careers, because they were, in the comics, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne were basically the start of the Avengers. That's how the Avengers got started. And when they put the new Avengers in, it was kind of disheartening that, like, Hank Pym was the center focus of the Avengers, between Hank Pym and Bruce Banner forming the Avengers. Like, none of that was part of the new Avengers in the MCU universe. But
Hank Pym.
It's Michael Douglas's character. Hank Pym. He was the original Ant-Man. Also Giant Man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's his technology.
I got Bruce Banner.
It's his technology that you can shrink or become big.
Okay. Thank you. For us.
But we get a Hank Pym that's old, and Michael Douglas is a great actor. I like him a lot, but I missed, like, the formation of the Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne era of Avengers. Well, I'm hoping it leads to that. I don't know how they would approach it, other than having a major reboot happen as what happens coming out of Infinity War and going forward. There is a potential for a flashback in there, but there's so many movies coming out that I just don't know how they would fit it in. But go see it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It doesn't need to be much more honest than that. It's just a fun popcorn Marvel movie. Doesn't have a lot of consequences on the Marvel universe as a whole, except for the last scene.
Okay.
But Paul Rudd as Ant-Man is hilarious.
He's a good actor. People don't give him credit, but he's a really phenomenal actor.
University of Kansas graduate. Yeah, he's a graduate. Thank you. He's right.
I still like him.
And I'm also I throw a side note on there. I like Evangeline Lilly much better in this one than I did in the first one.
Okay.
The first one, she came off as very, and I understood why it was a character. She was very pissy because she got overlooked. She wanted to be the Ant-Man. She wanted to be the person that got shrunk down and did all this dirty stuff.
Right.
But her father said no, he didn't want her to be part of that. But to finally see her step into the role of the Wasp and just, she takes charge of the whole movie and just kicks butt the whole way. But Walter Goggins' character, like I said, they set him up as the bad guy in this film, as one of the bad guys, because he's a black market dealer. And it's just, he acts like a scaredy cat for most of the movie, but he keeps coming back as like, I've got highly, big investors and
a little. Maybe you knew this or not, but being a Paul Rudd lover as you are, Paul Rudd and Rob Riggle. Do you know Rob Riggle?
No.
He's a comedian.
Name sounds familiar.
Anyway, if you saw him, you probably know him. But anyway,
is he the one that dresses up as a clown?
I don't know. I just know his face. That's funny. Anyway, they got together and they do Chiefs commercials, Kansas City Chiefs commercials. Well, they're not really commercials. They're just like little films and they're really funny. Anyway, so Kansas City Chiefs, Paul Rudd.
So my thing with Paul Rudd, I'm going to talk about this briefly, very quick. Paul Rudd and I had a little tiff when watching him a lot. I don't really know the guy personally, but I saw him on Clueless, and I'm like, oh, Josh, you're not. This is weird.
His KU hat.
Yeah, and he was Clueless. I'm like, okay. And then I saw him in The Object of My Affection, and then everything changed for me. So it's based on a book. Paul plays a gay man who becomes best friends with his roommate, who is Jennifer Aniston, and they start falling in love with each other, which was weird, but they had that whole platonic, almost romantic tease through the whole film. But that film kind of opened my eyes a little bit more to other things. But Paul actually was the character he was in the film, and it was believable for me, where I could start taking him seriously as an actor versus just a comic foil or cheesehead or just smiling all the time. Because up until that point, every time I saw Paul in a movie or TV show, he was just grinning, and that's all I saw him as, a grinning fool and nothing else. But that's that. Paul has come a long way in his acting, and a lot of people don't give him credit for it, which bothers me because he has worked hard to get to where he is, and
he gives back.
He does.
Gives back to his hometown.
He does.
What a guy.
Anything else, Ron? So, I was home for 3 weeks, and talking to a lot of people because, I couldn't go out because Sebastian needed me and Grace needed me and Marnie definitely needed me. So, talked to some of my friends, and one of my friends who I will not name, she has some interest in doing improv. We were talking about it. I won't mention who she is because she's not ready to talk about that out loud yet. I think we're just tossing ideas, and she wants to get over her stage fright, just get out there and open and stuff. So, but she wants to do improv, and I have another friend in West Virginia who does comedy sports, Richmond, and she's an improver. That's her night job. She's a teacher during the day. But all this improv stuff got me thinking there has to be something about improv out there. So I saw a movie on Netflix called Don't Think Twice, which has a slew of people. It's a comedy drama. It has Mike Birbiglia, I think is how you say his last name.
Birbiglia.
Yeah. He was in Rochester a couple months ago, doing comedy here.
He was at the new comedy joint, wasn't he? Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson.
Yeah.
He did Sleepwalk with Me. Keegan Michael Key from Keegan and Kel. He's doing a lot of stuff, a lot of Netflix stuff. I'll talk about him more later too. Julian Jacobs, Kate Musi, I can't pronounce names today, sorry. Tammy Sager and Chris Gethard, who has a podcast, which I don't know the name of, but I've been listening to him on and off. But this is a Netflix find I discovered. It's about a troupe of improvers who are in a commune. That's the name of their comedy group, improv group. And a Saturday Night Live, Weekend Live show discovers them and sits down and picks two people out of their group. And it's basically about them coming of age, even though they're in their 30s and 40s, realizing that they all won't make it in comedy, but being okay with it. Kind of slowly over the course of the film, some are making it, some are not, but then still going for the ride, still enjoying what they're doing. But this film is interesting. It kind of ties in with our stew later on, but it's just nice seeing a different group, a different reality. Like, we all see improv or on TV, like Whose Lines Is It Anyways, or have friends who do improv or just hear about it. But it's nice to see the behind the scenes dynamics of the team, the group, how they all function, and what their everyday lives are like when they're not doing comedy on stage in the evening. And it's kind of like a lot like Second City too. So it's just refreshing to see that different slice of life from a different point of view, and how art as a whole is hard, but if you love what you're doing, it isn't hard at all. It's just something you want to do because you can't do anything else. So I recommend this film a lot. It sat with me a while, and I think you should check it out.
When I hear improv and I think movies,
go ahead.
I'm older, of course.
Guest.
I think Punchline. Did you see Punchline with Sally Field and Tom Hanks?
Long time ago.
Why do I not know that film?
It's an 80s film, isn't it?
It came out in 1988. And Sally Field is a woman, mom. I think I can't remember her backstory. I feel like it's a stay-at-home mom thing, whatever. Anyway, but she wants to do improv. And yeah, you should watch it.
Why do I not? I think did I hear about it? Somewhere in my brain, somewhere probably. But I will check that out.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
That I have to check out.
Stay-at-home mom who wants to become a...
That's true. My goodness.
Okay.
Yes. So there you go. You have.
I have two things to check out. So.
You still haven't watched that yet?
I started it.
I get distracted.
Dude, it's so good.
I will watch it because of Emmys, but I just get distracted by other things.
I've seen about 4 episodes.
That's my next thing to watch. After Extreme Rules tonight, I will be watching that. So.
I don't know what. It's not. I will try again. I don't know why I'm not lured in. You know, it could be It could because it's a comedy. I have a hard time with comedies. Like, I do. Unless it's completely making me laugh out loud to the point where, I don't know, I'm so drawn to drama that I have a hard time.
You should watch Tootsie.
I love Tootsie.
It's a comedy.
That is a comedy, but it's,
Serious
got some stuff in there. But but that's different. Anyway. Okay.
All right. Awesome. So there's our recommendations for the week, and we will be right back. For you, the listeners of the Cultural Stew podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. And we have somebody here who loves Audible. I love Audible, but she loves it even more than me and uses it frequently.
I do, daily. Daily. So right now I am listening to Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman. She narrates her book, which I was a little hesitant about, but she is really actually a fantastic narrator. Reese Witherspoon has a book club on Audible. It's kind of like an Oprah book club. And she's had some pretty decent picks. So I listened actually to the sample first, which caught me, the sample to the book. So that's why I got it more than Reese, but I will give Reese props for that. So far I'm really enjoying it. It's a mystery that unravels kind of backwards, but the first chapter sucks you in. I mean, you are hooked and it's very hard not to want to just sit and listen and do nothing else. But yeah, Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman, and Reese has new picks every month. So she has a new pick right now, but I don't know what it is because I haven't finished her old pick yet. But
well, good thing you have a monthly subscription.
I do.
To Audible. How did you go about getting that?
I just went to. Well, I've had it, but for people who would like to listen, audibletrial.com/culturalstew.
And what do you get if you go there?
You get a book for free, a free 30-month trial or 30-month trial. Don't you wish?
Yep. You get a credit for one book.
Right.
And you get a 30-day trial.
30-day trial. So. That's what I meant. 30-month would be awesome. But yeah, you get a credit.
We'd still be on it.
I know. But you get credit for one book. So, which some of those books are pretty darn expensive. And
it's cool because they have apps for your phone. So whether you have Android, you have iOS, or something else, you can install that application, and it works just like your podcast player or music player. Mm-hmm. It just loads up the book. You have it there, and you can bring it back at any time. So even if you choose not to extend beyond the 30-day trial, guess what? You still have that credit there. You can still get that book and have it there. So if you chose something like maybe John Adams, which is, I think, 30 hours worth of listening, you can just sit there and listen to it over the course of a couple months.
Right.
Like it took me, because it's just really long.
Yeah, and the credits never go away.
Yeah, the credits never expire.
But they also, the other thing that's good about Audible is, let's say you run into some hard times. You can't afford Audible for a couple months, right?
Put it on hold.
You can put it on hold. And even if you've stopped the service, you do not lose your books. They're not like that. You bought your book, you get to keep your book.
So again, where can they go?
You can go to audibletrial.com/culturalstew.
Once again, that's audibletrial.com/culturalstew to get your free audiobook today. And welcome back. Today we have an interesting stew provided to you by Valerie. Dead silence.
No, I was thinking you were
going to be interesting.
You were going to. So originally I threw it out as a film, a documentary, a play, or a book that changed your mind about something in the world, an event, a person, whatever. I don't know if I said you. yourself, how it changed yourself, like you as a person.
I can barely remember yesterday. Remembering what you said 3 weeks ago is like...
That's okay. But, because it was on the website. That's why. So as far as events, I'll start with events only because then I'm going to go somewhere different. Events that did not happen. In 1983, when I was 8 years old, I sat in front of the television, as most children in Kansas, because it was finished up in Lawrence, Kansas. I don't know if this was if this was like a national movie that played or not. But I watched The Day After, which is about basically the end of the world, kind of. A nuclear bomb going off and what that's like. And what happens after, the day after that happens. And it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. So that changed, like, world's pretty and nothing's going to happen that's bad. Made me... so that definitely changed me. Like, I still think about the day after. But actually part of that movie was finished up on... KU grounds. So it was Old Father Studios, which doesn't even exist anymore, which is sad. I went to school there for film school, but it took place, a lot of it took place in Kansas. So, and then when I was in Chicago, going through my own stuff and kind of focusing on my own stuff, that's when Hurricane Katrina hit. And I was aware of it. Jason was extremely aware of it. Jason and I were roommates at that point. He was very aware of it and was, kind of talking to me about it and showing me pictures, but I was not clued in at all for some reason. I mean, I was a little bit, but I didn't watch the news. I don't even think we had cable. And I just, at that point, I was struggling to survive with job and everything else. So then I watched later, so in 2006, when the levees broke, which is a requiem in 4 acts is how they describe it. I watched that documentary, and that's when it came to full, oh, shit. I know that sounds really selfish and ignorant, but if you don't know about Katrina, that's where I would watch the documentary, because I think it's definitely worth watching, seeing what New Orleans and the surrounding areas went through. And that's terrifying, and also brings into the fact that, gosh, I don't even know what hardship is. These people, anyway, so, but the more I thought about it, I thought on the topic of how film or TV changed me. So I was, film and TV when you're a kid. You get up and you watch cartoons, or you go to the movies and I'm watching The Goonies or whatever, and you're having a good time. My parents divorced in 82. I was 7 years old. And then we moved, my sister, my mom, and I moved to Topeka, which is 4 hours away. And, it wasn't really talked about that much at all. And I went downstairs and would just start watching television. My mother's in law school, studying. And I don't know if it was a thought as to, what kind of stuff is she going to be watching that's not appropriate. And I wouldn't say it was inappropriate. But 30-something came on in 1987, and it ran for 4 years. 5 years. 87 through 91. 4 years. And I watched that show. And I remember sitting down and watching it and thinking, oh, this is what it's like to be an adult. That sounds ridiculous, but watching adult dialogue, watching people go through these hardships. They do have a divorce on there, and they do have things that are going on there that I thought, oh, and I remember wanting to watch it with my mom, and she would say, I can't watch it. It's too real for me right now. I can't watch that. Because why would I want to watch that? So I thought, oh, well then, gosh, that must be. And so I was thinking about dialogue, and then on another spectrum, I started watching Moonlighting, which was, that's kind of funny, which Bruce Willis and, my gosh, I blanked.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
No, we have to know her name.
Blonde, right?
Blonde, give me her name, somebody. Because she deserves to have her name written. And normally it's at the top of my head, but because she was in lots of movies. But she's in, my gosh. It's Sybil Shepherd. Yeah. Sorry, Sybil. Anyway, I watched that, and it was the banter back and forth. It was very, to me, I thought it, whatever. I'm a kid, but I thought it was smart and witty and funny and so fast. And Bruce Willis was so fast. I had never seen him before, but their back and forth made me really like dialogue. And then later on, I would see The Big Chill and the dialogue in that movie, and the fact that I kind of watching these people go through losing a friend, but it wasn't until Glenn Close sits down in the shower and starts crying that I realized, oh, like there's real emotions here. Because in some of the other parts of the movie, are kind of ridiculous. Like they make fun of it and things that would never really happen. You wouldn't loan your husband out to your friend so that she could get pregnant. Maybe some people would, but I wouldn't. So don't ask. And
okay. In case you were wondering, Jason is off the market.
He is off the market. Although he does make pretty babies. And then Jo Beth Williams is basically focusing so much on Tom Berenger. It's just kind of, and as I said earlier, Jeff Goldblum is just trying to get, he's a writer and he's trying to get a story, and it's just kind of. But then we do have these real moments in the movie that I have always been drawn to, which I don't know, which made me like dialogue. And then I checked out this movie from the library called My Dinner with Andre. And that is when I realized that I didn't have to have any action or any change the scene much at all. I just need to watch two people talk. And that's all My Dinner with Andre is. And
that's Wallace Shawn, correct?
Yeah. For most people, he's inconceivable.
Right. So for you, like the big thing has been taking in a different appreciation and a different view of the way relationships are handled.
Yeah.
Whether they be more adult situations from when you're a youth, or the way that people are handling natural disaster. It's them taking that perspective of what the relationship to those are. Like,
how to handle certain things, because I had no idea. And watching people talk through stuff. I don't know. I felt like I kind of looked to it as a guide on life, which is kind of strange. Maybe.
No, that's how I was with my movies. Sometimes my dad had me watch movies to explain things that he didn't want to talk about. So, for example, Boogie Nights is an example of that. My dad didn't want to explain The Birds and the Bees to me really that much. So he said, here's Boogie Nights. So, and that kind of helped foster my growth of
Hi, Dad.
Understanding filmmaking.
Really?
Too. Yeah, it's kind of I got to understand filmmaking as a whole a lot better. And I guess even in that film, I still hold on to that community. These people were all, in this together, this industry, this family, and there was a family there. There was Dirk and Amber and Colonel. They're all there, and then they all started falling apart, but they still wanted to be there for each other. So Boogie Nights kind of helped me understand filmmaking, but also the sex, I guess, what it was and what it isn't, and that kind of thing. I did a lot of reading too as a kid. Angels in America was one of the first plays I've ever, read. I talk about it a lot, but that, as a whole, that play, that story, opened my eyes to more of the gay lifestyle, understanding what they are really going through. I mean, you hear about AIDS a lot as a kid, but you don't really understand it. But then you read Angels in America and you understand that there was this pressure on, gay couples and lovers to support, but Lewis was afraid. One of the characters in the play was afraid. Prior, his lover has AIDS, and he ran away from him. He abandoned him. And that happened a lot apparently back then. But it's good seeing that there is fear, that everyone wasn't righteous as saying, hey, I'm going to stick by you through this and this. It was hard.
Yeah.
And then it also opened my eyes to Mormons too, because I know a lot of Mormons now, and it's, mostly because of reading that and then understanding that they weren't perfect people, that they may come to my door knocking and smiling and talking, but they had other underlying issues. And Angels in America opened my eyes to say they do have depression, they do have concerns and anxieties. So after reading that, I started being the guy in my neighborhood who, when Mormons came in the neighborhood, I had water bottles for them, and I would give them water to drink, because they're in their second skin and they're wearing these suits and they're hot and they're wearing black. And I imagine walking around and getting rejected all day long is exhausting mentally and physically. So I said, here's water, and just talk to me. So we talked about everything.
Really?
My daughter, one of her set of godparents are Mormon. They're back in stateside now from being overseas, and we love them. So sometimes texts, books, plays can open your eyes to things that you've never experienced before. I mean, even... He's still with us.
Sorry.
So...
Don't continue just yet.
But we're gonna... but yeah, Ron has something he wants to say. I'm gonna continue for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, art as a whole for me does open doors and open views and lifestyles. Ron, you were thinking?
No, I just
You
swallowed
need to
wrong.
talk.
Okay.
I was going to say that you're talking about the AIDS epidemic. I didn't understand. Have you seen As the Band?
I have,
The
yes.
Band Played On.
Matt
That's the movie I saw that opened my eyes to the whole thing, and I learned a lot from that movie.
Well, even looking back in history, and I mean, I was born in '85, and even then, knowing what was going on now, looking back, it was a scary time because I didn't know much about it. So people having babies and blood being all over the place, I mean, they just didn't know, and
They didn't.
so much fear can cause so much anxiety and both sides,
And hatred.
and
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying I understand now more than ever that fear can cause you to do a lot of things that you normally wouldn't do.
In 93, that movie came out, but also so did Philadelphia.
Right. And that changed my eyes a lot too.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I just rewatched that last week as well.
So there's that. I mean, we were talking about Wild Wild Country, about the cult. And again, you think cults are bad, but then you watch this documentary and you see what people needed at the time from this guru, what they were seeking. And you kind of sympathize a little bit with them, where they're trying to fill this piece of them that's missing. And by going and living with this commune, this group, they found it. And they were, I think for the most part, harmless. They were just trying to exist and belong someplace.
Yeah, I think for me, like Wild Wild Country is a good example of like, excuse me, is a good example of where I approach this from. I really haven't had anything too eye-opening. It's just been more of, I'm a big history film person. I love watching historical events unfold in film. And it's just seeing a different point of view or a different perspective. And for Wild Wild Country, it was more of like, well, I never really heard of this event. It was really enlightening to just, get it. And the story was told from a very middle of the road. They kind of presented to you both sides of it. So it wasn't like, oh, you're going to think this way or you're going to think this way, which you typically would get more from a film.
Yeah.
A documentary allows it to explore it a little bit. But for me, like, I watched a ton of war movies and Western movies growing up with my father, and I've gained more of an appreciation in the later couple of years when like they've gone back and they've just kind of made everything a little bit more real, of like let's make this war event as true to form as possible.
Right.
And they just hold nothing back. Or let's tell this Western story and just show you the brutality of it. And I think like a recent one, and I didn't give it very high marks at the time, and I still really don't because it's just a very depressing movie. But I think it's what you don't see in most Western films. As an example was Hostiles, the one that came out with Christian Bale. It was a very brutal movie. It doesn't, the Western culture at that time was not a very happy place to be. I mean, there's not a lot of good that was happening at that time. But that's where things get, for me, is more of just like looking at events in history at a different perspective. And it can happen with the same event over and over. I can see like, oh, look, here's World War II as told through Saving Private Ryan, or here's World War II as told through The Darkest Hour with one of the best performances by an actor. And so it's like having a big painting that's a jigsaw puzzle that just kind of gets, everything just kind of gets put in place and gets a little bit more refined every time you get to see it, because history gets told a little bit better each time, or you get a little bit more of that feeling of like, oh, these people are actually, they went through hell. I mean, they literally, it wasn't just like, oh, all the glory, rah, 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 everybody wins. It was, these were 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds that gave everything for what they did.
Right. I think that a lot of...
And I look, what was I doing at 18 and 19 years old? Or,
right.
And that's probably where I try to do is like, I put myself in perspective, like age-wise. It's like, okay, these people are going through this, or they're going through this major event in their life in their early 20s, and here I am, almost 40, and what major event have I gone through in my life that even puts me in the realm of understanding anything?
I totally agree. I think my mother used a lot of film, basically like your dad. She felt like maybe if I watched it, it would. I was in the middle of Kansas, and it was a community of just white people. Like you know what I mean? I didn't have any outside views really of any diversity. And, she's showing me roots. She's showing me, she's making sure that I'm seeing movies that explain different times, and how people were treated, and how, and I do the same thing with Zoe. And
yeah, you can watch Gone with the Wind, but you're not going to get an understanding of slavery through Gone with the Wind. Right. Whereas if you watch Roots or 12 Years a Slave or The Color Purple, you get a whoa.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah. I guess I had thing. I show Zoe some things, and I remember. I'm going to get all tear-eyed here, but she was really in first grade, really into Martin Luther King Jr. and the whole. She didn't understand the issues with race at all, and then we were talking about some race riots, and she said, "What you mean? You mean people still don't get along?" I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, she thought that the fact that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, that would have taught everyone that he finished his message, and then this horrible thing happened, but she, because of knowing of his teachings and everything, like she understood. So she didn't understand why it was still going on, why other people wouldn't understand. It was one of the sweetest moments, but for children, it's so hard. And, especially if you're not, which is a lot of the ignorance in America today. People don't go out and watch movies that deal with gay teens, like Love, Simon, or, they don't go out because they're going to feel uncomfortable or they're going to whatever. And people don't try to understand other cultures because, they're not interested. And that's where I think a lot of this bullshit comes up. You know what I mean? I feel like I had never.
Well, everybody does this to a degree. You kind of create your own little safe space, your own little bubble that makes you feel comfortable. And some of us expand that and keep expanding it, whether that's, bringing in other cultures or bringing in different lifestyles. And
lifestyles,
whether living as a gay person, that kind of lifestyle, I don't know if that's the right word.
I know what you're trying to say.
But if you grow up in a highly religious household, your bubble starts out very small until one day you become friends with them. And then you start realizing, oh, there's this whole community. Maybe that was the word I was looking for, not lifestyle. It's just...
it's okay.
And, I don't...
No, I think it's because it's called lifestyle so many times.
But bringing in... when I brought theater into my life,
right,
it brought in that whole community with it,
right,
and put my bubble per se at a different space than where it was previously, and where a lot of the other people that I'd grown up with was previously, and my bubble has just been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and especially over the last 5-10 years. To the point where I can't see the edges of the bubble anymore. Everything just feels like, okay, this is me. This is who I am. These are the people I want to surround myself with, to the point where everything just feels normal instead of me feeling like, oh, I'm touchy. And that's, I think, a lot of people in different parts of the world is you get so comfortable and you don't want to expand out that. And when you do, whether it could be the experience of seeing a film or seeing a theater show or reading a book that punctures that bubble just enough to make you reach out and experience something different.
Explaining to your child that, you have a lot of food to eat and you're not eating it. And you have no idea of what types of other children there are in the world. And so I would go on and find,
if you're only exposed to spaghetti or mac and cheese or hamburgers,
right,
that's all you know. But then you don't realize, oh, there's rice out there. There's steak.
There's children that don't have any food.
People that don't have anything. And
right. I'm like, here, look, this child has no food at all. Look at these. Of course she doesn't know. Even seeing movies that take place in different parts of India, and you see, I'm like, sometimes, I don't know. I've watched movies and have been shocked by my ignorance and the fact that I don't know what the hell's going on in different parts of the world and what they're going through. And it's, we feel really comfortable. But the thing is, my God, there are people going through hell every day. And we're just trying to figure out what we're going to make for dinner, and I'm stressed about that. So, in a way, that's kind of what I meant. And how people talk to each other, how they relate to other people of all different types. I think film is a great media. I think reading, just anything that brings that into your life, because you're not going to get it through. Well, most people are not going to get it just through people in your family, like talking with people in your family.
Well, that's my mom for the longest time thought that I was, gay because I didn't have a girlfriend, or I hung around gay people because I was in theater. And she and my dad raised us in a conservative Christian household. So even though my dad was showing me movies that he should have been showing me. But regardless, my mom didn't understand, because even there's a film I watched recently, a few years back, Lawrence Anyways, which is about a man who decides he wants to become a woman. And he's with his partner, Fred, who's a woman. And you would think it'll be a happy, feel-good film, but it's real. I mean, Xavier Dolan did a slice of life film where Fred is not actually content with the transition, and she's battling it the whole time internally. And then she finally like leaves Lawrence. She comes and goes, which is real life. Like, you're not sure, and Lawrence is still doing his thing and becoming a she, and decides not to have plastic surgery. He just wants to age like she was supposed to all along, and not look young, but just age. And it's just remarkable seeing that not everything is perfect, not everything is great. And I like films that are like The Divines I talked about in the earlier part of our podcast. I like movies, and they happen to be French, by the way, that are real to life, that show that people are struggling, that do have rust and bone. There are issues we have, and they're not hiding them.
Right.
I mean, even Amelie is fantastic,
Yes.
But it's still, you're talking about a woman who's so insecure and so comfortable in her bubble that when it's literally, burst, she's seeking something else, and she goes looking for it, no matter what it costs. And that's what I want to see. I want to see not the struggles of people, but I want to see real life, and I want to be able to empathize and understand, at least not close myself off to it.
Right.
Like, people don't like Mormons, and I don't understand why. They're the nicest people I've ever. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of anti-Mormon, really, and it bothers me. So, and not because I am best friends with some, but because they really, there's this whole sister wives thing. Like, they can marry multiple, wives, and blacks are not allowed in the Mormon church, and it's like stuff that's not true at all. If you read the history and you understand where these thoughts came from and where. But people don't want to read. They just want to latch on to something that sounds just outlandish and just ride with it. And that offends me. Not because I'm friends with them, but because it's just disrespectful and wrong. So, and I don't know if I'm stepping on toes or not, but it's just...
It's okay.
Please read. Please try to understand before you just repeat.
All religions.
Yeah. So,
I mean, or no religions at all. I think I fall prey to this as well with, I hear talk about stepping on toes. With the Christian religion, and I mean, I grew up in a Methodist church, and not really knowing what that means. I still don't really know what that means. And I have lots of friends that are Catholic, and I have lots of, and the Christian religion has held so many negative feelings for me only because of some of the people that I've come in contact with. So people judging people because of one or two people in a certain religion, which happens all over the world. So, I mean, I guess that's why we struggle. Why I struggle with coming down to saying, okay, we are going to have we are going to be in a certain religion. I just would rather the girls understand all of religions, including people that don't have one.
Right. And it's important in my family too, that I may be Christian, but I still want my daughter and my son to understand that there are other faiths out there. There are other people who may disagree with what you're thinking or what you believe, but we still need to love them and not hate them. Because they may think the same thing about you. They may not like you or what you're saying. And my big thing is just love one another the best you can. That's my life philosophy. That's what I live by. Everything else doesn't matter to me. So if you can love someone else, even if you a little bit don't like them, love goes a lot longer than hate. So hate is starting something in you that doesn't help anyone, even yourself. It just causes more illness in you and causes you more stress and...
Of course.
What did Yoda say about hate? I think the wrap up here would be, pop your bubble as soon as you can,
please,
and start getting out there and learning about other people and other stuff.
Watching the right,
whether it be through film or a book or going out and seeing a play, expanding your horizon to the point where you can be inclusive of everybody and everything, the good things in life, not the fringes that are the stuff that'll drag you into that hatred.
Anything. Like, I know this sounds...
Well, not anything.
No, what I'm trying to say...
Don't go watching that KKK film, because that might be a bad movie.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying that make sure that we were watching good stuff, but even last night... I've seen the movie, but even last night, it made it more real. But I don't know what it's like to sit and audition for something. And watching Chorus Line and, Kendra kept leaning over. This is what it's like. This is what it's like. Oh, my God.
You should watch Submissions Only. My friends did that. It's on YouTube. Submissions Only is the web series on YouTube. The last season, there's 23 seasons, but it shows what it's like to be a working actor in New York City and how auditions work. And you may laugh at it, but this is what people do every day. And you respect actors even more when you watch that. I will link to that in our blip.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up our stew for today. Next show, we are going to be continuing our director series, and we'll be talking about the fabulous Wes Anderson. And one of the films that we're going to talk about, as it's just, hopefully, according to Google, just got released, is Isle of Dogs is now out for us to rent. So that is where we are going to head. So if you want to be a little informed on our opinions coming to that, go out and rent it. And we will definitely be talking about Wes Anderson and all of his kooky, quirky, fun stuff.
Awesome.
So let's reach into our grab bag. What do we got in the kids' corner?
Oh, kids' corner. I went to go see
Hotel Transylvania.
Very nice. 3. It's a summer vacation with Adam Sandler. Basically, is Dracula. I guess what's her bucket is the what's her name? Oh, she's Justin Bieber's old flame. I can't even think of her name. And she's the little girl. And I can't think of her name. I apologize, everyone who follows her, and she's a big singer right now. But anyway,
Ariana Grande?
No. She's they were back and forth. Those two.
Taylor Swift?
The one from High School Musical?
No. Justin Bieber.
Gomez?
Yes.
Okay.
Selena Gomez.
I don't know. I just guessed.
Good job. Anyway, so we went to go see that yesterday morning. I will say that they take us away from the hotel. And so that didn't work for me. We get comfortable with things and we like them. And I didn't like they go on a cruise. And it didn't work for me. And my 5-year-old was twitchy. I got up several times because I didn't really care if I missed anything. Jason kind of giggled, but the man has been working his tail off. And I think that just getting out of the house and focusing on something else was nice for him. So I think he enjoyed the time off. And Zoe, I think she liked it okay. But is it as good? The first one was okay. The second one was really funny. I thought it was really funny. And this one was just not that great. However, it is summertime and I'm biased. I get quickly biased. So take your kids if you want to get out of the heat. I'm sure that they will probably find something funny and to laugh at. Harper did. My 5-year-old, she did laugh, belly laughs a couple times. Also, one other quick one, summer camp, Friends for Life. It's actually an American Girl, but it doesn't seem to come across that. But it's on Amazon and it takes place at a STEAM camp, which is science, technology, engineering, art, math, kind of nerdy kids. But their counselor takes them away from their gadgets and lets them explore nature. And it's 30 minutes long, but it's very cute. And both my girls liked it. So 5 and 8. Those are my 2 recommends.
Cool. I got nothing for Kids Corner. Score of the week. I will highly recommend the Westworld Season 2 is now out on Spotify.
Jason's really digging it.
Ramin Djawdi, is he?
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
He really digs it.
If you're not familiar with any of it, Ramin kind of takes a lot of classical hits and turns them over into piano works and gives them an old-timey feel. But everything on it's basic. It's very chord down. It's piano and it's a little bit of orchestral.
I meant Westworld in general.
Oh, Westworld in general. Yeah.
Sorry.
Good. So now you just listen to the music. You'll get a kick out of it. I mean, you'll recognize,
I'm sure that I will
Paint It Black. You'll recognize some Nirvana comes to there. It does Seven Nation Army in a Indian theme.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
A heart-shaped box, Yeah.
I'll definitely listen.
So, and that's just from season 2. Season 1 had a bunch of stuff in there as well. But it's fantastic music. So I've really enjoyed that. And then that's all I got for right now. There hasn't been a lot of releases lately or anything that's piqued my interest too much. Anthony's got something in there.
So let's see here. I was actually on Rocktify because that's the thing I talked about last time. It's Jackson Cavalier has started a group on Facebook where we can find local artists and listen to them. He picks them at random and just lets us listen to their goodness. I recently discovered the band Talking Underwater. And Talking Underwater is a band that is Rochester-based, obviously, but it's mostly sad songs played by very happy people. It's
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
I can see, I'm going to ask them if I can link some of their songs in our links, but they're just really like folky, like really like old school and
Cool.
kind of dreary in that way, but just they're
Dreary, but very happy.
But yeah, we're talking about sad issues, you know, things that are really like depressing, but they're not shy to not talk about them. They want to talk about these things and they want to have them out there. So you're not alone. So it's not like angsty, like I'm bitter. It's just like running away from home or being homesick. Like Nomad is one of the songs I listen to a lot. Freezing is another song too. It's just about all our insecurities are played out in these songs. The band composes of Dave on guitar, lead singer, Elsie who's on cello. We have another piano player, Colin. Sam is on vocals and Matt on drums. But
I wonder if they're playing around here.
they should be. They're around. I mean,
totally go see them.
They have
Sounds
two
cool.
albums out, and they have a website. It's talkingunderwater.bandcamp.com. Cool. But give them a listen too. They're local, and we should support our local artists.
Awesome.
Cool. I have a game of the week. I don't know if I talked about this one.
I think
the last show. But I know I started it after the last show.
You did.
God of War 3. Fantastic visuals. Over the top, fantastic visuals. Yeah, I did talk about it because I talked about his, like, you can see the scraggling in his beard.
Yeah.
Level. And constantly, my girls were walking into the room just like, whoa. And my youngest, who really likes games, it kept drawing her attention as to the level of detail. But I finally got through that. Really enjoyed it. Fun storyline. The girls kept getting a kick out of it because Kratos draws a lot of the Greek and Viking mythology of the gods. And so they kept hearing like things from like, oh, Loki and Thor and Ragnarok, like all these different events that they're connecting to the Marvel universe. I'm like, well, now you're hearing them in a different context because they're actually taking from Norse mythology.
That's interesting.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Looking forward to more games coming on as we enter the fall. There's some good stuff coming in. So, cool. Book of the week. You got a couple in there.
I have a couple books, actually. I finally finished The World Only Spins Forward, The Ascent of Angels in America by Isaac Butler and Dan Quois. This is a very long read. It reads kind of like a documentary transcript, but it's basically pieced together interviews from various people who had a say in the making of Angels in America and who were a part of it. So not just Tony and, Walter Kerr and all of them. It's just everyone who's ever been a part of it, enjoyed it. And it comes on the heels of Angels being on Broadway, and it came out a couple months ago. But it's a very good read, actually.
Do you think you can get it at the library?
Not yet.
Okay.
I bought it at Barnes & Noble. But, yeah. It's a very thick, but if you're into theater history or understanding how theater works or just the magic of, it's thinner than John Adams, and I've read it twice. So, yeah, it's just something that you can't put down if you enjoy Angels in America or you just love theater.
Cool.
And side note, John Adams, I read it twice because I read it initially and then I read it again after the series came on HBO with the great Paul Giamatti and Laura Dern. Yeah. I also read The Flick and Circle Mirror Transformation by Annie Baker. I want to say this. I'm not trying to offend anyone here in Rochester, but it's one thing seeing these plays and how they're played out and then reading them. So there are outstanding performances in these shows when I saw them locally, not knocking anyone's performance or direction. I'm just saying I enjoyed reading them more so. You got to see the dialogue. Because
that's
Annie
like
Baker,
a movie and a book.
Yeah. Annie Baker has a habit of, like, my dialogue, we cut other people off when they're talking. So there's a lot of overlapping in dialogue. And it's nice to see what the actor actually was trying to say before the overlap happened. And I don't know, I just like hyperrealism. as a genre. It's my favorite genre in theater and film, and I tend to write that way. So it's great.
What's the flick about?
The flick's about 3 workers in a downtrodden Dorchester, Massachusetts theater, the last of 3 indie houses that show only film on film. It's a play.
Oh, that's cool.
JCC did it a year or so back. And again, it took me a while to get my hands on it because I had seen it and I wanted to separate myself from seeing it and to just be able to read it and not have my friends who are actors in the show pop in my head and talk to me.
And Circle?
And Circle was done many years ago by Circle was done by Out of Pocket with Jeff Sedua and his wife, Stephanie. Again, good actors in the production, but I had to step away from that and then read it. So good. It's good to read a play either before you watch it or after, so you can see.
Or if you want to write one.
Yeah, that too. The more you read, the more you understand.
Sorry.
And the better you become understanding your voice. That's just a little writing tip. If you want to write better.
My mind went right there too.
Read more.
I know.
The more you know.
Yeah. Read more.
When you know better,
write
you
better.
do better.
Yeah. So that's what I have.
Cool. Moving on to the radar and queue. I'll go out first. I watched a lot in the last couple weeks. Glow season 2 came out. Blew through that in about a day. Really enjoyed it. I actually think I teared up in the last episode.
Holy crap.
And it's just more like, because emotional payoffs, you know.
I love those.
And they happen at weird points for me. And it was just one of those like, oh, I'm glad that happened kind of thing. And then Luke Cage season 2. I don't know if that was out right before we did the last show or not, but I did go through that.
You were trying to finish it. You
loved it.
Went last.
It's a solid series. Still good. Actually subscribed to Hulu for once to start checking off some of the things on there. The first one I took out was Marvel's Runaways. Wanted to check out that. I'd heard good things about it, so wanted to get through that. Liked it, enjoyed the season. Some changes I would have made, but I'm not familiar too much with the Runaways comic, so it was nice to just walk in there and not have any knowledge of what was going to go on with the thing at all. And then listening to Mission Impossible Fallout score, because that is coming out in the next couple weeks before our next show. So that'll be one of the things that are on my radar is Mission Impossible 6. And been trying to stay away from stuff that's coming out, but I've heard really good things about the 6th one.
Okay.
So this is interesting. They're saying it's the best coming out. So we also got Equalizer 2. I wanted to see Sorry to Bother You this week. Didn't have a chance. So I'm going to try to sneak that in before it goes out of theater because it doesn't seem like it's going to be one of the ones that are going to stick around for a long time.
Okay.
And Sicario as well, but that's already being pushed out of theaters, so that's going to move off pretty quickly. And then in my queue, I'm finishing up Bosch Season 4. I'm about 6 episodes in. This is a nice hidden gem. If you like cop dramas, it's a family drama with a nice slow burn, and Valerie is over here overheating as it's starting to get a lot hot in the studio right now. But Bosch is a nice hidden gem on Amazon that if you've got some time and you really want to watch something that's solidly written and solidly acted, Titus Welliver is the lead actor on it, and it's just phenomenal watching him over the course of the series. And all the secondary actors are great
I heard
too.
It's good.
But it's just one of those that's like, yeah, it moves a little slowly, but it's honest, it's real. It doesn't feel like anything's over the top. It does, you don't have any over the top action or drama. It's just what happens. And I felt really good watching the show. So that's my radar. That's my cue. Tony?
Okay, so I watched Friends from College. That's a key film on Netflix. There's also Fred Savage is in it, which is remarkable because I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff. He's been behind the scenes doing a lot of stuff for Disney Channel and ABC Family. But it's good to have him doing acting again. Friends from College briefly is about friends who have left college for years and get back together in New York City and how they have not stopped their juvenile, immature antics and how it affects their families now and their other relationships with each other and other people as a whole. I'd recommend that. It's really nostalgic, and if you pay attention, there's a lot of songs from the 90s that pop up on a radio station they listen to.
I think we got through one episode and I stopped watching.
It takes a lot to get into it. It took me 3 to finally get into a groove. I said I can enjoy this, but it's kind of.
I don't know if it was just like the college connection because I didn't go to college, so it would be like friends from high school,
kind of.
But there's like a whole different premise there,
right?
But
I will have The Clapper on my queue on. I think it's on Netflix. The Clapper is Ed Helms, I think. It's about a guy whose job is to clap obnoxiously during audience tapings of shows. And I saw trailers for it on YouTube, and now it's finally on Netflix. But it's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be about how his job is slowly dwindling and coming out of fashion. And it's just really, it looks like a good time.
Huh.
I also have coming up, I have DVC's, or Dream Visual Creates production of Disenchanted, which is a adaptation of Dracula with pop music. So we'll see how that goes. And also JCC is doing Dogfight, which will be coming up next week, all next week.
We plan on going.
And I'll be, doing my thing at these shows. So that's my radar. That's what I'll be doing. So.
Awesome.
Mine are quick. I want to see Leave No Trace, that's in theaters now with Ben Foster.
I love Ben Foster. I will watch pretty much anything he's in.
Leave No Trace is out in theaters now.
He's been in some bad stuff too.
Isn't that Lance Armstrong film?
Yeah.
But
he plays Lance Armstrong.
It's basically, it seems to be about a father and daughter who live, it kind of sounds like that other film, but anyway, who live out in the wilderness, and they're living on private property, and they pick them up, and then they try to have them live in a house, and it just doesn't work, so they're trying to get back out to the wilderness and live, and I don't know, it looked good to me.
So that's on Netflix?
No, that's out in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's at the Little and somewhere else. And on Amazon, even though Rotten Tomatoes gave this 22%, I really don't care. Rememory.
We have to rewind back to that episode where she says she doesn't see anything if it's under a certain percentage.
Rememory.
Are they removing that now or no?
What?
Isn't Netflix taking away reviews and user reviews, or is that something I
don't know, but Peter Dinklage is in it.
Ooh, Peter.
And I love him. And I just think it sounds interesting.
What's it about?
It's a guy, he's an amateur sleuth. Anyway, but he steals a machine that can extract, record, and play memories. This kind of sounds like Minority Report, whatever, of people, like of another person, and so he uses the device to try to solve mysteries. And the death of the man who invented it.
Interesting.
I think it sounds kind of interesting myself, but it does have like 85% of Google users like the movie. So I don't know, 6.2 on IMDb. I don't know. I don't really care right now. I think it sounds interesting to watch, so I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
There you have it.
Awesome. Thank you for a great show. Tony, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook and on Twitter at SMTORCHIO.
Valerie?
Okay. I am VB Vidmar on Twitter.
And you can find me pretty much everywhere as GF Media or GF Media CEO. And by everywhere, I mean pretty much every single social media site is one of those two. You can find us at culturalstew.net, at culturalstewnet on Twitter, and Cultural Stew on Facebook. And please, if you're listening, send us a review. Send us some feedback, anything.
Even if you don't like us.
Communicate with us on Facebook. Communicate with us on Twitter. Let us know you're out there. We have listeners. I know that. I see the tracking. I know there's people listening.
And if you want us to have a certain subject to talk about.
If there's something interesting you want us to talk about, is there a certain movie you want us to see or to talk about? Or do you really want to criticize one of our critiques on something?
Or do we mess up on something?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
So, there you go. All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
The intro and break music is Please Listen Carefully by Jazir, available through the Creative Commons license from Free Music Archive. The outgoing music is provided by Epidemic Sound. Please see our show notes for details on what the outgoing song is and who it is by. And also, as always, if you have a piece of music that you'd like us to play or consider playing, please contact us today. Like what you've heard? Want to continue to hear more? Please consider Patreon. What is Patreon, you ask? Patreon is a content creator support site, a way for people to support the things they love and allow creators to continue creating the content that they love. Please consider heading over to patreon.com/GFMedia and becoming a Patreon supporter today.